Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. We are out on the launch pad today with the Lunar Lab module supply vessel. This is going to be our first attempt at a very targeted landing, and our relative inclination with the moon has reached 0.25 a little before I was done talking, so we'll just go ahead and get this off the ground. Ignition sequence start. Ooh, yeah. Those RS-25s weren't quite spooled, but they are now. So we are up and going, and our launch vehicle today is a revised DN2X, probably the lowest part count DN series currently in use. Just the two RD-171M boosters and twin RS-25s on the core stage should be more well than enough to get our upper stage, which is 5 RL-10s. And that will be doing the bulk of our transferring to Lunar SOI. So I'm going to go ahead and try to pilot this little guy to orbit. Yeah, already at 100 plus meters per second, so it's time to start leaning into our gravity turn. So I will pick all of you up in orbit. This is kind of the weird stumpy brother of the DN series of lifters. Really, I think there's enough capacity there to put a stage or an HG3 powered stage for our upper instead of relying on the old RL-10s, which is a derivative from the HV stage. Dates all the way back to the RA-9 days of long ago. But this is kind of a weird intermediate level lifter. We certainly do have a lot more capacity with this rocket than we are actually utilizing here, but because we are not operating at capacity, we can be rather aggressive with our flight path to orbit and also avoid that whole pitching up thing. There's booster SEP and fairing SEP, and now we have the cargo pod itself, which we can go ahead and start to boot up, get these solar panels out, get our comms extended, and of course we're going to get the lower solar panels out as well, just to make sure that we can mitigate as much power draw as we can as soon as we're in daylight. Anyway, there's no RTGs on this. We're relying entirely on solar power in the hopes that our moon research station will at some point be in the daylight. But it looks like as soon as I can adjust for this relative inclination that I probably should have been paying a lot closer attention to throughout this flight path, but it looks like we're going to have lots of excess back in this stage, so I will turn you over to old me for more live coverage. Yeah, 256 by 176, not bad. We still had a kilometer per second left in our core stage. That's, well, we probably could have done this a lot cheaper, or we could have added a lot more to our cargo. So I guess in interest of saving power, we're going to go ahead and stage off the core. I doubt that'll be enough to deorbit it, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, let's start making our plot for the moon. Hopefully we won't have too long to wait, although we've got lots in the margins. 3,448 meters per second in this RL-10 stage. Yeah, good. Looks like we have less than a whole orbit to go before we can make this burn. Let's bring that around just a bit. Yeah, I was a little slacking on the relative inclination. We're at 0.33. Not the best, certainly not my worst. Yeah, it looks like we can get a nice easy catch here. Let's see what that buys us. Focus view. Oh, nice and low. Good, good. Oh wow, that actually, man. We might be able to do a 2-pass landing, and that would just be absolutely brilliant. But let's correct this node first. Just kind of bring our periapsis at the moon down a little bit. We want to get it good and low. Is that 23? 73. 73. How about we lock you open? Nope. 3,000. I doubt we're going to be that accurate. See, one whole click of the scroll wheel. Come on. All right, fine. We'll just roll with this. That's 3,100 meters per second, give or take. Yeah, just not quite enough torque in these thrusters to really get the job done. They will eventually, I'm sure. How's our electric charge looking? Certainly a drain, but it is nighttime. That is to be expected. We got gobs of battery. So I think we'll be alright. We got 22 minutes to kill until we need to make our transfer burn. Yeah, good enough. Let's get on with it. Alright, we're at about the 4-minute mark. Throttle is zeroed, so let's stage in these engines. Very good. Haven't lost a whole lot to boil off, surprisingly enough. We'll just start to use some of this RCS fuel. We might just hang on to this cryogenic stage all the way out to the moon. It certainly would be nice to get that free little extra little bit of delta V. It'll have maybe 100 or so meters per second left in it. Not quite enough to capture on its own, but every little bit helps, especially since we're going to have the world's most inefficient landing. Estimated burn time is now down to 1 minute and 20 some odd seconds, so I guess we're just going to hang out here for a little bit. Alright, we are about at the 45-second mark. Let's just make sure these are all edged. Very stable. Ignition. We have a good light across all 5. And we are underway. Now, the real fun part is going to be trying to park this thing really close to the lab so that we can connect it using those KIS hose attachments. So, today, we're going to learn very targeted landings. And of course, now our estimated burn time is 7 minutes. I guess I really should have read the Delta V stats over here in the MechJev window instead of trusting what the maneuver node said, because now we're going to be way, way, way behind. Or I just entirely misread it. Oh well. We'll still get there, I'm sure. Yeah, our margins with this mission aren't nearly as tight as the actual lab deployment, and because of that I can play a little fast and loose, which is really just kind of how I play the game anyway. But anyway, RL10's performing beautifully. This is, I haven't used a 5 RL10 stage since we were doing station construction, and before that had been a very long gap since I actually used them, and we did have kind of an alarming rate of failure on these engines early on. But I guess they've worked the kinks out now, because we're certainly getting very good performance out of them these days, which is surely a relief, although I am sure test flight is still working. Yeah, well, same problem as before. We're coming in on the opposite side. I'm going to try to use some RCS to touch this up a bit. This might... No, this is not going to be better. Really need to come in on the opposite side here. Some kind of orbit that takes us close by. We're just going to use up all of our RCS. No big deal. RCS off. No, that's 11,000. Okay, I don't know what it's doing, but it is raising it. RCS off. Let's kill the node, see what we got here. No, I don't want to... 32,000. That's not bad. And we're not too far off from our goal, so let's add our maneuver and see what it's like to get us into a nice orbit. 31 by 49, and that puts us relatively close to our landing site. I think we can divert up here and maybe make a landing. We'll just have to see how much the moon shifts in the meantime. And check our battery draw. Oh, we're charging. Perfect. We're actually bringing in enough power to keep those panels, or to keep that core down here fed, which is definitely a good thing. 236 meters per second left in our hydrolock stage. Let's try to hang on to it and see if we can get any use of it at the moon whatsoever. We will be there in, like, I don't know if that says 5 or 6. It's too small. Anyway, oh, wow. let's go ahead and just warp on out there and make our orbital insertion burn. Should probably turn satellites back on so I can see myself here. Yep. Now something is being completed because it is kicking us out of time warp. I'm assuming that's our... oh, the administration building is complete. We can take more than one... what are those called? Incentive things? Yeah, I finally canceled the one that was giving me extra reputation that I don't really need anymore. Our reputation bar has almost been maxed out. But we really don't need to be gaining rep. What we could always use is money and science. So, boom. All right, relative inclination 90 degrees. I guess it has shifted quite a bit. Yeah. Well, all right, we're going to have to make a little bit of a stay in orbit while we wait for it to get underneath us, but no big deal. And we're down to 38 meters per second left in our hydrolock stage. Oh, boil off. You entertain me so. I wonder how much of it's going to be left after another 17 hours of falling. So let's bring it on down there and watch that delta V meter slowly tick down. We are going to fling it off into deep space, right? Yep, okay, good. It will be trash that we don't actually need to concern ourselves with. 10 minutes. We'll go ahead and come out of time warp, take a quick save just to make sure. Let's go ahead and kick this RCS system back on. Yep. Signal delay of about a second or so. All right. I mean, it's only 28 meters per second. We think we'll get just as much out of using these thrusters, but we might as well go ahead and light this thing now. We're 7 minutes away from our node, so yeah, ignition. And there they are. All right, well, we'll just let the hydrazine thrusters run their course, or really the RCS thrusters. We're burning aerozine and N2O, not hydrazine. But not that much fuel left here either. And, you know, it might be a free meter per second or so. Not really a whole hell of a lot, but... Alright, let's do this with the H key, because I'm going to have to unlock this manually before we light the engine. And a spent. Very good. So, stage. There we go. Unlock this and pull ourselves gracefully away. And we'll go ahead and activate our AJ-10. Engine active. Yeah, it's not going to tell us how long the burn's going to take. I'm going to assume that it's going to be several minutes, but we can probably time warp just a little bit here. We're 6 minutes out from our burn. And, I mean, that's kind of a cool shot. I'll take it, for right now anyway. See if something better comes up. 5 minutes. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and fire the AJ-10 just to see what happens. Alright, feed pressure too low. What? Oh no. Tell me I didn't make this a pressurized tank. Oh no, no. Okay, this is a problem. Let's see how much damage this does to it. Enable crossfeed. There, we've got fuel. Oh boy, that is fairly dismal as far as our rate of killing off speed, probably because most of our thrust is being directed into the bottom half of the spacecraft. This is massively unorthodox, and I do not recommend it. I just don't think that we have the Delta V to do this orbital insertion and a landing on just this stage alone, necessitating this super awkward. See, this is saying that we can displace this. Now, I guess we're not seeing that kind of benefit down here. My kingdom for a docking port on this thing. That was dumb. That was super, super dumb. Well, I mean, we're getting something. Alright, let's kill the throttle, unlock our primary, decouple, ignition. Nope. Gotta ullage. Come on, man. Really? We're gonna do this? We're gonna do this now? Flame out. Alright, we're going to switch to a different vessel to let that thing de-render for a second. Yeah, this is our little MoonLab-y thing that doesn't have a whole lot of anything left in it. Nothing useful, nothing that we can really dock with. It's all propellant-only docking ports. So now we can... Where's our spacecrafty buddy? Switch to... It's probably the wrong one. Yep. Okay, let's try this again, shall we? Ullage. Ignition. We have a good light. Finally. And there's capture. Alright, 2336. That's about our margin, I would say, as far as... oh, good. We still have some fuel tanks unlocked. Whew. Thank goodness. We have a bit more margin now. And infinite ignitions on these Astros 2 engines. Get the gear deployed just so I don't forget to do it later. Oh. Nah, of course. All of this went exactly as well as I thought it was going to go. So, where is our landing site? There it is. So, we need to wait for that to be somewhere underneath us. I guess we're going to take another pass and then lower our orbit later when it will be more efficient. I say that's another 500 meters per second. I don't really know if we can actually afford that. I think we're just going to have to wait until it's underneath. And spend all of this fuel on our landing approach. Which really sucks. I do not see that relative inclination falling below 90. It's just kind of sitting there at 90. It was at 120 at some point. So I'm just wondering if maybe it's a little bit of a hiccup there with the relative inclination thing as far as your target being landed instead of you being landed and your target being orbital. But yeah, our relative inclination number really wasn't changing. So I just took matters in my own hand and started plotting a node that would both deorbit us and bring us closer to our target landing zone. Of course, forgetting that we're going to have to alter this node to account for the rotation of the moon. Duh. Alright, well this node might work. It's in a day, so we'll have to see how much shift we have, and we will adjust the node accordingly, but it's only 968 meters per second, which I think we might be able to pull off, considering it puts us on a descent trajectory. I guess we'll see. Ooh, good. Looks like we can ease it up just a bit. Let me go ahead and make some of these corrections now. Yeah, and these corrections turned out to be a lot of corrections, but all of them are generally reducing our relative inclination, or at least the delta in our relative inclination, which all in all is saving us delta V, so it's fairly profitable. It's just a matter of making sure that we don't smash into the moon before we intend to, and maybe adjusting for that rate of smashing into the moon. And of course, overshot it again. We're going to have to retool this node. No big deal. It's just a bunch of very tedious dragging of things. Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. But I think I'll try to compensate for this thing here shortly. Alright, I think that looks pretty good, and that's only 756 meters per second. So we got about 3 hours to go. I'll probably make one last correction a couple minutes before burn, and that'll lower it even more. 40 minutes. Yeah, look, we already need to drop that angle a whole lot. Alright, we are 5 minutes from burn, so let's make these adjustments now. Of course, by the time we get there, we will have shifted even more. So let's tip this lots lower and hope to goodness we can nail this. A little slow on the uptake, but I am learning. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Looks pretty safe. Hopefully by the time we get there, it will be over here somewhere. Yeah, that's an hour from now. So that seems about right for somebody who's entirely just eyeballing this entire thing. So how long do we have until burn? 4 minutes. It says the burn will take 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Let's take a quick save because I'm probably going to screw this all up. All right, 1 minute 22 seconds from burn. Let's lay on these thrusters. Ignition. So the upshot to this cargo vehicle versus pretty much anything else that we've landed on the moon is its very impressive thrust to weight ratio, which means we don't have to make extraordinarily long, slow burns trying to deal with our altitude a whole lot as we make these corrections. We can just fire at the node and make things happen as we intend them to. Works out in our favor for the most part. Shut down. Let's kill the node. All right. So now we just thoughts and prayers or something. Let's see how much it's going to shift or how much time that we have before we're over it. Add maneuver. 47 minutes. What's it going to take to just zero us out and put us into a free fall? 1600 meters per second. Not bad. Altitude there will be 15 kilometers. That's skimming the surface. It says also that burn will take 5 minutes. That's pretty good. So now we just need to hope that we are over the target when we get there. Not moving as fast as I thought. Not nearly moving as fast as I thought it would. All right, yeah, that's us. Let's set a node. Dang it. 15.9 meters per second. That should bring us right over the target. So let's just go ahead and do that now. How effective are our thrusters going to be at doing this? Not very. Lighting them. Shut down. Burn with thrusters. And hope to all that is high and holy I can do this just as well as Mekjev has shown me how. Fair enough. Alright, so let's set... No, I do not wish to switch to. I wish to create a node. We'll just create it out here and then move it into position. And that should give me a good gauge on what I need to do. 1681 meters per second, and a burn that will take 4 minutes 58 seconds, taking place in 16 minutes. So, basically, 4 minutes away from this node, we're going to fire these engines and see where the hell we come down, and hope that we can set it down safely. We hope, right? Not a whole lot of room to work with as far as altitude, but we do have a very impressive 3.48 thrust to weight ratio. So as long as we don't pile into the ground on the way there, maybe we'll be okay. Our other Delta V computer says that we will also displace 2,400 meters per second in 4 minutes 50 seconds. So maybe we'll give it just a little extra leeway, bite into it by a minute or so, and hope that we'll have enough fuel to change course a little bit on making this approach. I hope. Maybe. Please don't let me screw this up. Why didn't I put wheels on this stupid thing? That would have been super, super smart. I recognize that crater. This all does look very familiar. Oh man, wow, we still have a long way to go. So why not just speed it up in post? Gulp. Current altitude is 8 kilometers. How is that a thing? Alright, we are 2 minutes 5 seconds from target. 2 minutes exactly, so we're going to start to ullage our engines. Give them a light. And this is the one that's for all the marbles. If we mistime this too much, I don't think we'll have enough fuel to set down. Alright, where is it? Sorry, I interrupted myself. Near the target. And if I were smart, I would have put wheels on this thing so it wouldn't matter so much. But I didn't because I'm not, so we really need to nail this landing. There it is. I had to press F4 to see the targeting thing. And it looks from here like we're running right down the barrel. Probably need to deflect this way just a little bit. Yeah, so much for right down the barrel, huh? Alright, let's see if we can't bring this to a stop right overhead and then crash into it. So the observant among you might notice that, yeah, I'm probably going to overshoot this. My rate of approach is not nearly leveling out with my rate of deceleration. So the seconds I took not lighting when I should have are really coming back to bite me now. Okay, coming in a bit fast, so we're going to buy ourselves a little time to slow down. We've only got about 300 meters per second to kill, so there will be some corrective measures taken as we are right now flying right over the MoonLab. That's okay. I didn't think I was going to nail it first try. Oh good, render range. Even better. Alright, come on. You can get me a little altitudes here while we slow down. Good, we're climbing. Let's return to braking. Because we need to be about facing. Started the burn a little late. I was a little nervous about it, but you know, these things happen. Alright, here's our about face. Yeah, those fuel margins, I hope you like the look of them because they're gone. And so I sped all this up in post because I was a little too overwhelmed to try to talk through this while doing it, but it's basically just a bunch of quick, short puffs on the engine trying to bring myself down as close to this thing as possible. And all the while being confused on what axis was what, and falling way too quickly. But we've got it down to about 700 or so meters, not including our altitude, so just a couple of quick puffs on the engines. Our thrust to weight ratio is now in the 7+ range, but we are down to 14 seconds of burn and 173 meters per second. To mitigate a little bit of this, I have deactivated 2 of the engines to kind of give us a little bit more controllability as far as our descent. And then just with a lot of very quick puffs, and trying to bring myself in as close as I can, I suddenly look up and realize that my fuel level is extraordinarily low. We're now back in real time. Still, I forgot to talk, but we're within 70 meters, 19 meters per second in the tank, and just kind of very gently bouncing off the or bouncing very close to the surface. Whew! Touchdown! Look at that! 29.2 meters! Oh, 5 meters per second left in the tank. Yes! Yes! Oh! I can't even stop me from pulling this off. That's a really good feeling. Why is this still in the dark? Oh, man. Ooh. I can breathe now. That's not that bad. I hope. Now we have to pull it off with a ship with a crew in it. That's a lot heavier. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. I wish I could have parked it over here, but considering the grand distances from which we were operating, you know, I'll take it. It's not that bad. Awesome. All right, and maybe this is gonna be a better shot for the day. I don't know. Let's switch to this and zoom out from here and get a little cross angle-y. That's too much of a spoiler, though, isn't it? All right. I don't think I can run a tube that long. This is going to be really aggravating because it's really close, but there's probably still no cigar. Oh well. All right, that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you on the next one. So until then, see you later.